Did you know that there's actually studies that claim and prove that when we hang on to negative emotions, well, these emotions can cause cancer and any other diseases, in particular, anywhere in the body. I know it sounds crazy, but this is what I would like to talk about today. Hi, I'm Dr. Branyon with New Hope Unlimited. Thanks for joining me. Now let's talk about negative emotions. I think everybody knows that when we hold on to stress, it's absolutely not good for the body. It can cause such things as high blood pressure, heart problems, strokes, lowers the immune system, everything. And when your immune system's lowered, it just invites everything in and says, hey, I'm lowered, come on in. And even comes cancer sometimes. It's like we have a big garbage can sitting right in the center of our core. We throw in all this junk, all these emotions, throw it in, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Oh, I can't cry. Big boys don't cry. I'll just hide it. I'll put it in there. And all of a sudden, that trash can, the lid just will not fit on top of it. So those emotions have got to blow at some point. It's like methane gas or whatever. It's going to go poof, and we're either going to lose it some way. But sometimes the other way we lose it is it can manifest in areas of the body. For instance, I know it sounds crazy, but I studied some of the studies, and early after I got out of med school, I did some of my own little studies, not published or anything. It was just for my ideas, because I had read, one of them came out of Germany, and it talked about the negative emotions and how they fester. And then I learned that the Oriental doctors absolutely believed that a lot of the cancer was caused from not getting rid of these emotions. It's very important for us not to hold things in. Got to get rid of them some way. Somehow, even if you can talk them out, or go see a psychologist, or get a set of drums and drum your heart away, or when you're in the car and you know no one's around and you're driving responsibly, scream out whatever it is you're trying to get out. Little things like that, it sounds ridiculous, but it can help. But what I'm trying to say is that these emotions can generate and manifest into certain parts of the body that they've been able to identify and connect such emotions with such organs. Now, this is not to say this works for everybody. I think in the past you could go with it a little better than you can nowadays, because the statistics and the government is now saying that by the year 2030, which is not that far from here now, or not that many years away, that 75% of our U.S. population will have some type of cancer-related problem. So that can be a lot of, not just emotions now, but it can be a lot of what's in our environment. What are we eating that's so toxic? What are we smelling that's so toxic? What is that 75% coming from? Because that's not normal. And remember, the World Health Organization has said over and over, the U.S. has the most cancer in the entire world. In fact, they say we have an epidemic of cancer, not a pandemic, an epidemic. But I think emotions, we can't blame everything on cancer on emotions now, but I think we should still use that idea and think it through, because let's say you really are trying hard to get into remission, or let's say you're trying hard not to get cancer, or hard not to get some heart problems, or any problems, then we need to think about what mentally are we thinking about? What mentally is that record player going over and over and over about? Because that's prevention, not just of cancer, but of a lot of things. Emotions can be very important. And I think, let me just tell you what the Oriental doctors say, and I believe it according to what I have seen. And we have seen thousands of cancer patients. I don't always ask now, but there was a time in my career that I would ask just about everybody, what kind of deep down emotions have you had problems with? And they would tell me, and I'd go back and I'd look on the chart and I'd like, oh my goodness, this seems like it could be true. So let me just tell you, give you an idea. For instance, lungs. We have to have our lungs. They breathe for us, they keep us alive. But what emotions are held in the lungs? What they say is deep down grief. Have you ever met somebody that is just full of grief? They can't seem to get over something that's happened in their past, whether it's when they were childhood or growing up or whatever. This is deep down grief. Sometimes if we don't work with that, it manifests in the lungs. The lungs are associated with deep down grief. Now, breast. Oh, we've got a lot of breast cancer. But let's talk about what the Oriental doctors say about breast. Usually they'll say that if you've got a patient with breast cancer or breast disease of some kind, start asking them about nurturing. Did they ever feel nurtured in their lifetime? Was there a times that they just didn't feel like they were nurtured enough? Or were they not able to nurture themselves? For instance, we had a patient a while back. She was sent to us by a church that they sent her to us because they were trying to help her. She had breast cancer. And the story goes that after the birth of her child, the first child, the husband, something flipped in his mind, and well, I can't explain him. I can only tell you about her. So something flipped, and every morning, before he went to work, he had her to get his breakfast, get whatever wives do to get the husband off to work. And then all of a sudden, she and the baby, the newborn, was locked up in the basement. And she could not get out. And she was actually even in chains. Chains. Yes, that can still happen in today's world. So it was a while before someone sent the police out for wellness checks or whatever it is they call them. But the husband would come home from work, let her out, and she would do her wifely duties again, and then she couldn't escape, and then got locked back up with a newborn. So she definitely had problems with nurture. Not only did she feel her husband abandoned her and did not nurture her, but she also could not nurture her newborn the way she felt. These things happen all the time. We just don't always hear about it. But this is just an example of the breast cancer and the fact that the Orientals tag it with nurture. Oh, throat. Problems with the throat usually comes from where people feel like they can't speak or can't say their truth or what they're thinking or want to say. They're always kind of stopped. So it builds up, that emotion goes to the throat. Pancreas. Pancreas is for worrying, overthinking, some disappointments, destructive tendencies, and some grief. Prostate is depressive. Uterine is sometimes, a lot of times, somewhere down the line, there's been some sexual abuse. Now, this, like I said, is not for everybody, especially in today's world, because cancer is coming from everything that we are around. But in the old days, this is a lot of what doctors who were real hands-on doctors would ask their patients when they came in with lots of bronchitis or lots of problems, emphysemas, all those kind of things, COPDs and lung cancer. They would ask, did you ever have any deep down grief in your life that you couldn't get over? I just wanted to pass that by you, because in today's world, it's hard enough to live a good, healthy life. So I think we all need to think about, what is it? What is in that mind of ours that is still running the record player over and over? Did we ever actually get rid of it? Or did we put it in that trash can and we're waiting for that trash can top but not to go on strong enough, and then boom, something's going to happen somewhere. We want to be free. We want to be free like the eagles, as they describe it, and we can be who we want to be, healthy, happy, and loving. By the way, don't forget to tell yourself you love yourself at least 3 times, and then try to find somebody and tell somebody 3 times today that you love them. Spread it, because we really need it. And at some point, you'll get to believing it. Love you, and thank you for listening. I just do love you, and I appreciate you very much. And I hope with all my heart I'm doing something that can help. Thank you.